Today we can see everywhere people are acting against to their will. Why? Because lack of conscience, and sometimes it leads to lack of consciousness. Both are at different frames. Why? Because whatever the work we do, we have to follow according to our conscience. Conscience decides whether we are doing right or wrong. If we are doing right, let it be continued with our conscience. The right thing should be done with consciousness. But if it is wrong, our conscience should not accept it. It never accepts if we are loyal. Even then, if we violate the rules and regulations, law and orders, we act anything against those acts without conscience, with conscience, it's a called crime. For everything, there should be needed to correct, to rectify with our conscience. Because olden days, that means before independence, the people were acted to get freedom for India with their conscience and with consciousness. They were, though tortured by the Britishers, their consciousness never left them. Their conscience made them to fight against Britishers to get freedom for our nation. In that freedom fight, so many lives were sacrificed. They were entirely followed the rules and regulations of their conscience, because the Britishers were against the law, but our Indians were supportive and followed their conscience with consciousness. They fought for freedom and sacrificed their lives. That fruits are we are enjoying nowadays. But the scenario is entirely changed. Now wherever we see, whether politicians, bureaucrats or corporate sector, they are acting against to their will, against to their conscience, and bringing heavy loss to the nation. Nowadays we can't see the person who are entirely sacrificing their lives for their duties with their conscience and consciousness. Why? Because people are not aware of conscience. Only their conscience is meant to earn wealth, power, etc. In this regard, they are not cared about their conscience. This type of trend we can say every part of the world, not only in India, every nook and corner of the world. Because of these type of against to conscience, the world goes in negative ways. That should be drawn back to the peaceful and pacified lifestyles with each and every person's conscience and consciousness. That's why our ancestors believed whatever you do, karmanye vadikaraha, according to Gita, only work doing by you is your duty. Result will be depend on your capacity of working efficiency. Even that time, you should work according to your conscience with consciousness. Therefore, today I took the topic of conscience and conscience. Let us go through the detailed description. ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे. Conscience refers to a state of awareness or a sense that one's actions or intentions are either morally right or wrong, along with a feeling of obligation to do the right thing. Cartoons often personify the conscience as a proverbial angel or devil pale who talk into the ear of an indecisive character, encouraging him or her to follow either a path of moral virtue or of moral corruption. Some examples of the conscience are: you should decide what to do according to your own conscience. Number 2, her conscience were bothering her, so she finally told the truth. 3, I cannot do anything that is going against my conscience. 4, he could not in good conscience allow this situation to continue. 5, I have to tell you the truth because I don't want this on my conscience any longer. When you come for conscious, on other hand, is an adjective that indicates that a person is awake and alert and to able to understand what is happening around them, such as a patient who becomes fully conscious after being administered anesthesia. It can also imply that a person is aware of a particular fact or feeling, such as an investor who is conscious of risk, or athletes who are conscious of being role models for young people. Another common meaning of conscious describes a person who cares about something specified, such as the cost conscious shopper and the environmentally conscious activist. Additionally, conscious can modify an act or a decision that is done deliberately. Hopefully, you are now fully conscious of the differences in using conscience and conscious. The most essential one being that the conscience is a noun and conscious is an adjective which describes nouns. Keep in mind that whenever you are in a difficult situation, you should be conscious about what your conscience is telling you. Your conscience will help you make moral, just, and fair decisions. As for remembering the spelling of the noun, conscience contains the word science, and as science tells us how the forces of nature and the universe behave, or should the conscience tells us how we should behave or should not behave. Similarities between conscience and conscious. Both conscious and conscience are related to the mind. Moreover, both words indicate an awareness. Conscious is awareness about one's surroundings, while conscience is about right and wrong. In addition to that, these words are pronounced similarly. This is why many people tend to use them. Conscious means aware of and responding to one's surroundings, whereas conscience is a person's moral sense of right and wrong, acting as a guide to an individual's behavior. Consciousness is an awareness of one's own existence, sensations, thoughts, surroundings, etc., whereas the conscience is an awareness of right and wrong, which acts as a moral compass. Conscious is an adjective, whereas conscience is a noun. Generally, conscious is used for thought or perception about a particular subject or action thereof. This is used to indicate the quantity of awareness or knowledge about the act we do. One who is dress conscious dresses nicely as occasion demands. We can also say that person is a speech conscious. That person first of all weighs what he wants to convey, meaning person concerned does not give any chance to criticize him as far as his or her speech is concerned. One who spends money according to charactered plan could be termed as budget conscious. Finally, a person who is self-conscious means that a person takes care or is conscious that all his actions and reactions thereof are in sync with self-respect, meaning that person takes every step with awareness and not intensive. It goes to show that whenever we fully aware what we are doing and are also aware the conscience of our action, that state is termed as a consciously transacted action. We do speak about raising our consciousness, meaning raising the quantity of our awareness or range of our awareness. Higher consciousness means increasing the quantity of state of mental awareness. Then we talk about self-conscious, which also means awareness of self. Mental awareness meaning acting within the confines of discipline and probity, lest our actions do not prove counter to others' viewpoints. It can also be considered how others think of us, or in other words, how others perceive us as a member of society. It should also be remembered that when we talk of a conscious mind, its mysteriousness should never be forgotten. It never ages, it remains ever youthful. I used to have the same mental outlook of the things around me or about me as I am having presently. It is really limitless. Through our mental imagination, we can take us to our childhood or any other part of the world. It is thus boundless. We become self-conscious when we understand the nature of our mind and act. Bhagavad Gita professes that self-conscious could be attained though yoga of meditation, whereby we can unravel the true nature of ourselves by uplifting ourselves from narrowness or narrow-mindedness, from human consciousness to our soul consciousness. When the elevation of yoga is attained, tranquility of mind is ensued through God consciousness. Conscience is used for indicating qualitative parameters. When a yogi does his karma, he keeps abreast of moral or ethical, rational, pragmatism aspects so that he does not deviate from the path, but without being self-righteous, takes a front seat. Ego is not far off then. While consciousness has been examined extensively in its different aspects, like in philosophy, psychiatry, neurophysiology, neuroplasticity, etc., conscience, though it is an equally important aspect of the human existence, which remains an unknown to a great degree as an almost transcendental aspect of human mind. It has not been examined as thoroughly as consciousness and largely remains a terra incognita for its neurophysiology, brain topography, etc. Conscience and consciousness are part of a system of information that governs our experience and decision making process. The intent of this paper is to define these terms to discuss about consciousness from both neurological and quantum physics point of view. The relationship between dynamics of consciousness and neuroplasticity, and to highlight the relationship between conscience, stress, and health. The meanings of these two terms, conscience and consciousness, are often confused and are misunderstood by many people. Consciousness is the function of human mind that receives and processes information, crystallizes it, and then stores it or rejects it with the help of the following. What are they? The five senses. The reasoning ability of the mind. 2. 3. Imagination and emotion. 4. Memory. The five senses enable the mind to receive information, then imagination and emotion process it, reason judges it, and memory stores or rejects it. The exact parts of the human brain where these functions are taking place are supposedly defined by neurophysiology. An important observation is that the more information one is able to gather and process, the more aware and the more conscious one becomes regarding one's internal and external world. Awareness and awakefulness represent the two main components of consciousness. Awareness is defined by the content of consciousness, and arousal is defined by the level of consciousness. Awareness contains self-awareness, which perceives the internal world of thoughts, reflection, imagination, emotions, and daydreaming, as well as external awareness, which perceives the outside world of thoughts, reflection, imagination, emotions, and daydreaming, as well as external awareness, which perceives the outside world with the help of five senses. Now let's think of conscience. We must remember that mechanisms of consciousness are complex and indicate, whereas the workings of conscience are much simpler. The concept of conscience, as commonly used in its moral sense, is the inherent ability of every healthy human being to perceive what is right and what is wrong, and on the strength of the perception, to control, to monitor, to evaluate, and to execute their actions. Such values, right or wrong, good or evil, just or unjust, and fair or unfair, have existed throughout human history, but are also shaped by an individual's cultural, practical, and economical environment. The closer our inner state of conscience identifies with the higher perception of our concepts, such as good, right, just, and fair, higher our degrees of conscience, and less physical stress is experienced if we feel that we act according to these concepts. It can be said that conscience is a degree of integrity and honesty of each human being, because it monitors and determines the quality of one's actions. One who acts with a clear conscience has the advantage of feeling inner peace, which is a feeling that mitigates the adverse physiological effects experienced in times of stress. Conscience is the highest authority and evaluates information to determine the quality of an action, good or evil, fair or unfair, and so on. Consequently, conscience ranks higher than consciousness. In addition, has the ability and the authority to decide how information will be used, either for good or evil. However, conscience is usually influenced by and modified in its decisions by the natural instincts of humans for survival and perpetuation. In other words, conscience determines our final decisions for action after evaluating in a split second all of the above parameters. Now, the systematic function of the brain. The whole process should be understood in its entirety as a complex, continuous, and integrated set of functions in all healthy human beings. If any part of these functions is defective or ceases to exist, the whole system will suffer or even may collapse. This demonstrates the wholeness, coherence, and continuity of the human brain structure, and it means that even though we theoretically and distinguish between functions of the interdependence between the above mentioned parts. Now, free will. We can decide the act in accordance with or against our conscience at any given moment. Indeed, these are our only options. It is only within this framework that freedom of choice can exist. This means that decisions and actions that are in accordance with the dictums of the individual's conscience can lead to an evolution and refinement of conscience as a result of an inner peace of mind. Such is the effort of all truly spiritual people. On the contrary, if one acts against one's own conscience, it can lead to an involution and a feeling of having a troubled conscience. In such a case, the overall director and judge becomes less distinct or even stagnant. Its voice cannot be heard, and it allows the lower instincts to gain the upper hand and to act accordingly. In this condition, a process begins that creates an inner irritation or inner itch that does not allow a moment of peace. Eventually, anxieties and phobias manifest, and they are the previous symptoms of a harassed health state. This happens in our contemporary societies, in which many initially healthy individuals who have become prominent figures, such as politicians, journalists, police officers, and judges, those who have power over others in their hands but not enough moral strength, succumb to the widespread corruption of our times. Indeed, or instead of using their power for the benefit of the people, they use it in only for their own personal gain. This is not the case for all of them, of course, but those who want to go against such a trend find themselves eventually isolated and powerless. If conscience comes under pressure from the basic instincts and becomes dull, then the human being will descend more and more into an animal like state and will then be forced to exclusively serve his own lower instincts. In this compromised state, the information that an individual receives is assessed and utilized according to what is commonly called self-interest, a term that has assumed the status of a divine law in our time, or inner itch that does not make it smooth. These transcendental extra-mundane experiences of spiritual people can take place while the person is still in relatively good health and at the same time can understand and realize the ever complex incoming information and thus make decisions and actions in split seconds. People who have managed to have a high level of conscience usually have a higher purpose in life. They have visions that can inspire others or humanity as a whole. It is through such a process that a new quality of conscience eventually emerges to sacrifice self interest for the common good. Experiences have shown that these individuals who have were raised in families with strong moral attitudes can very seldom bypass the dictates of their conscience. Conscience, being the noblest function of our existence, constitutes the thread that keeps us in contact with our universal nature, or with the objective truth, or with God, to whatever one wants to call it. Consequently, the definition of the degree of conscience anyone possesses can be determined by any followers. It is the degree to which we participate in objective truth, namely the absolute good or the absolute right or the absolute just. Realistically speaking, humans cannot reach the absolute. They can only come closer to go or further from the absolute depending on the quality of the experience of conscience. Unfortunately, the relative approaches of the truth can change within the same person, sometimes in dramatic way. The degree of conscience or how close to the awareness of the unfortunately on two factors is truth, etc. The assessment of the information received. The need of individual to indulge their human instincts. It is one of the most important aspects of one's life upcoming. We are saying unfortunately because it is too easy for conscience to drop to a lower level. It's if the choice of the person is for comfort and self-interest alone. On the contrary, it is too difficult to attain a higher level of conscience because the individuals must be have adapted already through long personal struggles the concept and comforts to achieve can ever ascending level of conscience. Conscience attains a higher level only when the common good is put alone with self-interest. This happens in an utmost deliberately away. Examples of high conscience are the adepts of all times with their transcendental experiences, and all those who managed to tame their passions and pursue the search for truth for all those who sacrifice their lives and live here happily. Examples of law conscience are those who manage to deceive, oppress and take advantage not only a few people but the whole societies. People but of whole societies or nations for thereupon own personal benefits, such as individuals are primarily the corrupted positions whose actions may affect the whole nation. We, the common people, are same tower between these two categories, and we fight balanced somewhat condition and not to shut down our consciences comparatively. It is a daily struggle and may usually a daily struggle. Money battles. Consequently, our health decreases until death completes the picture. We suggest that these concepts could formulate the raw material of a discussion that would examine whether conscience lies within the brain, whether it is only the result of chemical compound or something is different, lying beyond the brain structure in transcendental dimension, or whether both spiritual situations are necessarily untrue. Consciousness is also refuted to and yet in the extent of neurophysiology as subject-wise awareness. The notion of consciousness or subjective inner life has also been addressed from a philosophical and religious point of view, with religious prosperous being mainly in metaphysical beliefs and remains with regarding the sustainable structure. The field of moral conduct, there are several various self-evident truths which are awareness of do not to others what you would not wish to be done to yourself by the parents. It is well known that on a philosophical level the concept of free will is very easily closely connected to the concept of moral responsibility. In addition, it is in religious or higher spiritual levels that one can even speak of different types of conscience: a good conscience, an evil or defined conscience, a weak conscience, a seat conscience. The formation of conscience through the ages in this higher spiritual characteristic of human beings. All our family members can understand the difference between conscience and conscience. Thus, now we can understand the difference between conscience and conscience. We can move according to our scriptures. Shekandaya Kalyana Nide Nidedram Shri Venkatanivasaaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangala Sahasrapade Madacharya Purogami Sarvesha Purvairacharya Sarkrutaya Stu Mangalam.